when it comes down to Bronny, the one thing that's evident within this game when you do watch him at USC is his passing is still there. He's still able to make high-level passes in these reads. But I'm going to keep showing you why later on, but passing too much is going to hurt him. And now this is something he could really layer his game off of, right? His jump shot. But he needs to get rid of the passing mindset and be a little more aggressive, because that's a smooth jumper. That's a smooth jumper. You can't lie. That's a smooth jumper. You don't lie. Don't lie. Don't say, oh, that shit look a little whack. It look a little ugly. That's a smooth jumper. You know what I'm saying? It's like a cool 8 out of 10 right there, right? So is he going to layer his offensive game off of this? Which he should. But the passing stuff, he do it a little too much, right? Stick with me on that. Stick with me on it. Understand? Because in situations like this, Bronny's got it in transition. You see him the nice jumper. You also know he's got his pop's athleticism, right? He's got LeBron's athleticism. So when you get to a point right here, an inflection point, I like to call it, are you going to go and attack a defender who is now stepping up super high, a few feet above the three-point line, and get into this gap here? Or are you just going to go here and try to make a play for a teammate? Bronny makes a little too much of the correct plays, right? When it comes to really getting yourself to the point where you're making the league, right, where you want to really be on notice, you want to be at the top, you got to take risk, right? And you got to bet on yourself. You almost got to have a little bit of an ego, but Bronny said himself, I play with no ego. So now when Bronny gets here, you could get through that gap, and I know he could. But he ends up getting that to his teammate, looking for the floor to pass and not looking at the floor so he could score. If Bronny's at least going to be aggressive, playing off the catch, he's got to always look to shoot off the catch. Because at a time like this, that's your shot. He didn't even look at the rim. He caught and immediately swung the rock. That's your shot. Shoot over those, right? Bet on yourself. Take those shots for yourself. And you may say, oh, it's an ego, I'm selfish. No. Because when you fully trust that in your ability, you're helping the team. And as a matter of fact, by passing up those shots, you're a detriment to your team. Because now you're no gravity on the floor. All you're doing is just passing the ball when you really should go and score. So who's really being selfish? It seems like you're the person playing and you're trying to protect your image. So now what ends up happening is that someone else goes and gets to their move. And in reality, if Bronny had taken that shot right there himself, that's a bucket out of him. And we could trust that, but only if he trusts himself. You know how it's saying on offense, he don't take no risk. He needs to apply the same risk taking that he does here on defense, right? You're going to see multiple times on offense where boom, his back is turned. I see opportunity where I could go and make a play. So what does Bronny do? Boom, he goes and makes a play. He almost kind of breaks the zone in a sense. I got a better example going forward. So now what happens? He gets out in transition, has a cool lane, boom, drops it off, another pass. It's just like he just always loved to pass the ball a little too much. Remember what I said, look, he's taking risks defensively. He don't do it on offense. If he did it on offense, he'll be great. But defensively, they're playing the zone. This left side, he's on this left elbow. So what ends up happening when 3 gets into his left side? He breaks the zone, gets over all the way to the right side because he sees there's a play to be made. And now, boom, he really got a clean block, but they did call a foul. And that's crazy too. Look at Bronny. He's got the same mannerism as his pops. That's kind of crazy, bro. They got the same mannerism. This is where Bronny has been aggressive at times. He should do it more. But this is where he has been aggressive at times, where he should be more aggressive. It's in transition in these situations. Because with his athleticism, could any player really going backpedaling or picking up high stop him on a quick go move? Like in reality, could they really stop him? Probably not. And so this is where he should begin to turn his lens from playmaking to now just being aggressive and trying to get to the rim, draw fouls. And now he could get himself to the free throw line. Because by getting himself to the free throw line, now you get a good feel for the ball. And now you go and shoot your 3, which your offensive game should be built upon, like I said before. And now you're building rhythm. So instead of averaging 6, you may now be averaging 11. If Bronny ends up going back to USC, he's got to do this right here and not do this shit that he's doing right here. Right? You got the rock, you down 31. Right? So what's Collier gonna do? Right? What is he gonna do? Him being the first round pick that he's about to be, he's going to go and seek the shots. Because even understand this from a draft perspective, right? They only care about the numbers that you put up. And even if you lose, you got a good 20 piece, they're going to be like, oh, he averaging 20, right? I'm going to talk about that more later. But Bronny can't be doing this all the time. He can't just be sitting in the corner. And he's not even in the corner. He's 7 feet up from the corner. You're not spacing the floor out properly anyways. But Collier, he's actually getting to his spots, and that's why he's the one that's leading the team in scoring. That's why he's going to be a first-round pick. That aggression. Got down the floor, no passes, no nothing, got the shit. Took a risk, bet on himself. This right here shows you Bronny's passiveness and how it's been a detriment to his game. So he gets here in the post, boom, bump, boom, pump fake. There's two ways you can see this play right here. You can either see it as 42's helped, I got an open teammate, or I got my defender to jump and I could get in the air and get a foul. Bronny sees this as an opportunity to pass the ball. Hey, Bronny should take this shit to a whole nother level of disrespect. They put a walk-on GM on Bronny. And notice what Bronny's going to do, right? When he's going to get into the game, when he get the rock. This is why Bronny is not on no mock drafts, right? Because when he got a time for him to attack, he still passed the ball. This is a mismatch. Get your buckets, my guy. Get your buckets. And so now you give up the rock, let somebody else cook when you got him on you. This is where you stat pad, bro. Like,
with all due respect,
this is where you stat pad. So what now happens? You give the ball to somebody else who's going to cook. Since Bronny wants to be so lackadaisical defending and attacking on the other side, to be so passive and lack aggression, what happens? He checks into the game probably the first time this year, shoots that shit from the corner, splat, and notice what he about to do in your face. Thumbs up, boom, look at him, look at him, look at him, look at him. Watch this shit. He point out to the crowd, bro, Bronny. I don't give a fuck. Because you got to understand, when scouts look at the mock and they look at, oh, where should this player go? Where should that player go? They just look at the numbers. So if you ended up putting 10 points on his dome in a matter of 2 minutes, they would have looked at this game and said Bronny had a good game. They're not going to watch the game. They're not going to watch the game. And so if he just simply said, all right, let me go and get 3 full-made field goals. Let me get 3 layups, right? Just 3 layups, 6 points, add 6 to my total. They're going to say, oh, Bronny, he doing good. He had 14 points. He had 13 points. That's a completely different thing because they don't even notice the matchup that happened. They're just going to see how many points you put up. And so now what ends up happening, even though Bronny just got scored on and he just had the career moment of his life, at this point right now, this kid's going to tell his grandkids, I scored on LeBron James. He going to say, I scored on LeBron James. And guess what? He's going to leave out the junior. He going to leave out the junior. He said, I scored on LeBron James. Oh, junior. You know what I'm saying? He going to leave that part out. This is the moment of his life. The moment of his life. And if you a competitor, there's no way you let that shit slide, bro. No way you let that shit slide. And Bronny, you gonna get your get back? You gonna get your get back, Bronny? Bronny gonna get his get back? He ain't get his get back. He ain't get his get back, bro. He just needs to be more aggressive. Needs to be more aggressive, bro. I want to see him do good. I want to see him be great. I want to see him shut people up who say, you can't be your pops. You can't be your pops. Can't be him, but you could be a better version of yourself. And that's all I want to see, a better version of Bronny. The best version of Bronny. As a player, as Bronny, this is where you got to take a risk, right? And it's not really a risk because you got the gravity. You split middle. Now, boom, what ends up happening? At this point in time, you can get to this free throw line. And if you get to this free throw line right here on the zone, you pinch everybody in, and this is where you can now make your passes. Sometimes you just got to put your body in a spot that brings gravity, and now you make your plays. But Bronny doesn't get that far deep. He just wants to read the floor and just throw the pass instead of getting there to where you actually got to have, there's actually some pressure, right? So now what ends up happening, he pulls the ball out. Pulls the ball out instead. When you run this lane in transition, this is an empty left side. You got to get all the way down to this deep corner. And that is not deep corner because this is really going to hurt him. Because when Ellis gets off this screen now, he's got this dig right here. And Bronny got to get a pass. And this dig only has to close out about one step, right? Just a few feet. And now he could read that closeout. Whereas if Bronny went all the way down to this corner, continued to slide over, this help defender would have digged, stayed there, while Bronny was already in that deep corner. So now he's getting a pass and has a hard closeout. So he could possibly shoot, pump fake and shoot, or get into a lane off that pump fake from that defender. Due to Bronny's lack of aggression this entire game, once he gets into this handoff with about 7 minutes left, he's not going to be able to understand what coverage he's about to face, right? And so with not knowing what coverage he's about to face, he doesn't know what he needs to read. And so in a spot to where you now see a double, you don't know that you could be able to swing this to the wing and then hit the player on the roll because you're now seeing two. So what ends up happening is that you take away the gravity from that roll and just got to get the ball swinging around the key. Where if you got an opportunity just at some point in the game to see a pick and roll and see how they're going to guard you, you'll know what to read at what point in time and then know what exactly to look for, right? And how to be able to take advantage of that. But since that was his first time, he wasn't able to take advantage of that play. So